Ever feel like, oh, you're dragging all day, but then when you finally get to bed, your brain's like, party time.
It's like your mind has other plans.
Right. It's so common, this whole tired but wired thing. So today we're gonna really unpack why our sleep might be doing the opposite of what it should.
And how to get it back on track.
Totally. Because it's not just about how many hours we're logging, right? It's like there's a whole rhythm to it.
Exactly. We're talking about the circadian rhythm, that internal clock that keeps everything in sync.
Okay, so it's like our body's own personal timekeeper.
Yeah, and just like, a conductor keeps an orchestra in time, your circadian rhythm regulates hormones, body temperature, even your metabolism throughout the day.
Wow, so it's doing a lot. What throws it off? Like, what should we be paying attention to?
Well, light is a big one, especially when it hits our eyes.
Makes sense. So, like, staring at our phones before bed? Probably not the best idea.
Not ideal, no. That light actually triggers a cascade of effects, ultimately influencing the production of melatonin.
Melatonin, the sleep hormone.
Right. And it's not just about how much melatonin you have, but when that surge happens, ideally a few hours before your natural sleep time.
Okay, so timing is key. But doesn't everyone's internal clock run a little differently? Like some people are morning people, some are night owls.
Exactly. And while those individual variations are totally normal, problems arise when your natural sleep-wake cycle clashes with your daily demands. Work, family, all that.
And that's when we get that tired but wired feeling.
Often, yes. And sometimes this misalignment is more than just being a night owl. It could be something like delayed sleep phase syndrome or DSPS.
DSPS, that sounds kind of serious.
It can be. It's more common than you might think, especially among young adults. Basically, with DSPS, you're biologically wired to go to bed and wake up much later than was considered normal.
So, like, your internal clock is set to a different time zone.
Exactly. And this can lead to chronic sleep deprivation, even if you're spending enough hours in bed.
And it's not just about feeling groggy, right? I mean, I know when I don't get enough sleep, I'm like useless by noon.
Oh, absolutely. It goes way beyond just feeling a little sleepy. DSPS, or any chronic sleep disruption, can impact concentration, mood, energy levels, even your immune system takes a hit.
Wow. Okay, so our bodies are really trying to tell us something when we're not getting enough sleep.
They are. And sometimes, even when we think we're getting enough, there are these sneaky reasons why we're still dragging during the day.
Like what?
Well, naps, for one.
Wait, really? I thought naps were like the solution to the afternoon slump.
A well-timed, short nap can be good, especially in the early afternoon. But if you're relying on naps to power through the day, particularly long ones or late in the day,
You're messing with your sleep.
exactly. You're telling your body it's time to sleep when it shouldn't be.
So a quick power nap, maybe early afternoon if you're really dragging, but otherwise.
Power through. If you're constantly needing naps, it could be a sign of a bigger sleep issue or even another health concern. Talk to your doctor.
Got it. So it's not just our schedules and habits messing with our sleep. Our own thoughts and feelings can keep us up at night, right? Like anxiety.
Huge factor. That racing mind, those what-ifs. It's like trying to sleep in a room full of buzzing alarm clocks.
Oh, the worst. So how do we even begin to quiet that down?
Well, that constant mental chatter keeps your brain on high alert, making it hard to truly relax.
Like our bodies think we're in danger, even when we're safe in our beds.
Exactly. And this heightened state can interfere with melatonin production, creating a vicious cycle. Anxiety disrupts sleep, which then fuels more anxiety.
Ugh, it's a trap. And depression can really mess with sleep too, right?
Hallmark of depression, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's not just insomnia either. It can be oversleeping or feeling totally unrefreshed even after a full night's sleep.
So frustrating. It's like you can't win.
Exactly. And like with anxiety, the relationship goes both ways. Depression can trigger sleep problems, and poor sleep can make depression worse. It highlights how interconnected our mental and physical health are, with sleep playing a crucial role in both.
So we've got naps, anxiety, depression, all potentially sabotaging our sleep. Modern life feels like it's designed to keep us wired all night. Speaking of, let's talk about everyone's favorite pick-me-up. Caffeine.
Ah, yes, caffeine. It's like this double-edged sword, right? Can be a lifesaver in the morning, but
But timing is everything.
exactly. Did you know it takes around 5 hours for your body to eliminate just half of the caffeine you consume?
Wait, seriously? So that afternoon, iced coffee.
Could totally be messing with your sleep even if you don't feel wired.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, even small amounts lingering in your system can disrupt your sleep cycles later on. You might not hit those deep restorative stages that are so essential.
So it's not just about avoiding that after dinner espresso. It's about being mindful all day long.
Precisely. A good rule of thumb is to cut off caffeine at least 4 to 6 hours before your target bedtime.
Makes sense. But let's be real, there's another big culprit keeping us up at night, practically begging us to scroll mindlessly into the wee hours. Our screens.
Oh yeah, the ever-present blue light issue.
Hmm.
Our devices are amazing, but that constant exposure, especially in the evening, it really throws off our natural rhythms.
It's like we're bathing ourselves in artificial daylight, tricking our brains into thinking it's time to be awake.
Exactly.
No.
And it's not just the timing of melatonin production. Blue light can actually suppress the amount of melatonin our bodies make.
Double whammy.
Exactly. And with how prevalent screens are, it's no wonder so many people struggle to get good sleep.
Okay, so we've covered some serious sleep saboteurs, sneaky naps, our phones. But now for the, big question. How do we fix this? How do we go from tired and wired to, actually feeling rested?
It's not always easy, especially with life and everything. But one of the best things you can do is have a consistent sleep-wake schedule.
Easier said than done,
Okay.
right? I mean, what about those late night work things or, when life just happens?
It definitely takes effort. But think about it like you train your body to feel hungry at meal times.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of the same with sleep. You want to train your body to crave sleep at the right time.
Okay, so instead of just crashing when I'm exhausted, I should aim for a consistent bedtime, even on weekends.
Exactly. Your body loves routine. It helps regulate that natural sleep-wake cycle, making it easier to fall asleep and wake up feeling good.
Okay, consistency it is. But what about those nights when you're just tossing and turning? You're like, come on, brain, cooperate.
That's where a calming bedtime routine comes in.
Okay, so what are we talking here? Like a hot bath, a book?
Exactly. Think about what helps you relax. A warm bath, reading, listening to calming music, maybe some gentle yoga or meditation. The key is avoiding anything too stimulating, like TV or scrolling on your phone in that hour or two before bed.
Right, because that blue light is basically telling our brains to stay awake. And speaking of signals, we talked earlier about how what we eat can affect sleep. Any specific things we should avoid before bed?
It varies from person to person, but generally, big meals, sugary snacks, alcohol at best to avoid those close to bedtime.
Alcohol. Really? I always thought a nightcap helped you sleep.
It might seem that way at first. Alcohol can make you drowsy, but it actually messes with your sleep cycles later on so you don't get those deep restorative stages.
Huh, so maybe herbal tea instead of that glass of wine.
Exactly. Chamomile, lavender, valerian root. Those are all known for being calming, a good addition to your bedtime routine.
Nice. Okay, so we've got a sleep schedule, a relaxing routine. What about, the sleep environment itself? Does that really matter?
Huge difference. Creating that sleep-conducive environment can really impact how well you sleep.
So what should we be going for? Asking for a friend who might have a stack of work papers on their nightstand.
A clean, uncluttered room can definitely help.
Yeah.
Promotes a sense of calm. But more important is making sure it's cool, dark, and quiet.
So turning my bedroom into a tech-free sleep cave.
Exactly. Darkness tells your brain to make melatonin. So blackout curtains and eye mask, those can be helpful, especially if you're in a city with lots of lights.
And keeping the room cool is because our body temperature naturally drops as we fall asleep, right?
Ideally, aim for somewhere between 65 and 68 degrees for optimal sleep.
Got it. And noise. I'm like the lightest sleeper ever.
Earplugs can be a lifesaver if you're a light sleeper, especially in a noisy environment. White noise machine, or even just a fan, can help drown out sounds too.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got the environment covered, but what about those thoughts that just pop up when your head hits the pillow?
Ah, yes. The dreaded bedtime brain chatter. So common, especially if you're prone to anxiety or have a lot on your mind.
It's like suddenly I remember everything I forgot to do that day, plus a million other things I need to worry about.
Exactly. One really helpful thing you can try is building in a designated worry time into your day.
Wait, worry time. So I'm scheduling time to sit and worry.
It might sound weird, but stick with me. Pick a time earlier in the day, not too close to bedtime, and just dedicate 15-20 minutes to write down everything that's stressing you out. Don't censor yourself, just let it all out.
So it's like a brain dump for all my anxieties.
Exactly. Once you've got it all down, take a moment to acknowledge each worry, and then, this is key, try to reframe any negative thoughts into more positive or productive ones.
So instead of dwelling on a problem, I'm actively trying to come up with solutions.
Exactly. You're training your brain to address these things constructively during your worry time so that when it's time for sleep, your mind is free to relax.
It's like giving those anxieties their own space so they're not taking over all night. I like it.
It's a simple technique, but can be surprisingly powerful.
That's awesome for like the worries. But what about when it's not worry? It's like my brain becomes super creative right when I'm trying to sleep.
Keep a notebook by your bed. Any thoughts, ideas, to-dos, no matter how random, jot them down.
Like saying, okay, brain, I hear you. I'll get to that later, but right now it's sleep time.
Exactly. Just getting it out of your head and onto paper can really help so you can relax and fall asleep easier.
Love it. Okay, so we've got worry time, a notebook. Any other mental tricks we can use to like tell our brains it's time to sleep?
Visualization can be really powerful.
Visualization, like
Like,
picturing myself on a beach.
exactly. Visualizing calm, peaceful scenes can really help shift your mental state and get you ready for sleep.
So instead of replaying that stressful work meeting, I can imagine myself, I don't know, on a tropical island, listening to the waves.
Precisely. The more vivid and detailed, the better. It engages your senses and calms your mind.
It's like a mini vacation for my brain. I could definitely use one of those.
Right. And the best part is you can visualize anything that works for you.
Mhm.
A beach, a forest, a mountaintop, even just a cozy spot in your own home.
Awesome. Okay, so we've covered visualization, worry time, a notebook for those late night ideas. But what about those of us who've tried everything and we're still struggling?
If you've been consistent with these strategies and still having trouble, it's so important to talk to your doctor.
Because it could be a sign of something more serious going on.
Exactly. Conditions like sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, thyroid disorders, certain medications, these can all disrupt sleep.
So don't just tough it out. Talk to your doctor. They can figure out what's going on and help you find solutions.
Exactly. And it's important to remember, sleep isn't one size fits all. What works for one person might not work for another. It takes some experimenting to find what works best for you.
Like finding the right key to unlock a good night's sleep.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment. Adjust things as needed. Your sleep needs change over time too. That's normal. Listen to your body. Notice what helps and what doesn't. And just prioritize creating a sleep routine that supports you.
It's about figuring out what makes you feel your best so you can wake up feeling refreshed and energized.
Yes, reclaiming those restful nights and energetic days that make life so much better.
Totally. And speaking of feeling your best, I read that there's a link between high-fat diets and less REM sleep, which is that stage of sleep that's crucial for memory and dreaming.
That's right. There's still a lot to learn about how diet and sleep are connected, but some foods, like almonds, kiwi, fatty fish like salmon, have shown some promise in promoting sleep. They're good sources of melatonin.
So maybe swap that late-night bowl of ice cream for some kiwi and almonds.
Definitely worth a try. Even small changes to your diet can make a difference.
Small changes, big impact.
Now,
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. The science of sleep, some really great strategies to get better sleep. It's been great.
we've talked about having a consistent sleep schedule, a calming routine, making sure your bedroom is set up for sleep, and even some mental tricks. Plus the role of diet and knowing when to talk to your doctor if you're having trouble.
It's all about understanding that sleep isn't a luxury. It's essential for our health and well-being.
So true. We tend to push sleep aside, but it should be a top priority.
Totally agree. Prioritizing sleep is like an investment in yourself. So, as we wrap up our deep dive, what's one big takeaway you hope people walk away with today?
If you're feeling that tired but wired feeling, don't give up. There are things you can do to get better sleep and feel more balanced.
Start small, try different things, and be patient with yourself.
It's a journey, not a race. And those small changes really add up over time.
Love that. So, as you're drifting off to sleep tonight, hopefully after using some of these tips, we have one last question for you.
What's one small change you can make tonight to prioritize your sleep and set yourself up for a better, more rested tomorrow?
Could be setting a bedtime reminder, dimming the lights an hour earlier, swapping social media for a good book, even those almonds and kiwi we were talking about.
Every journey starts with a single step. What will yours be?
It's wild, right? We think of sleep as this like passive thing, but the more we learn about it, the more we realize how much is going on when we're out cold.
Absolutely. Sleep is when our bodies and minds do so much of the repair work, consolidating memories, processing emotions.
It's like a whole other world happening while we're catching those Z's.
Exactly. And it affects everything. It's not an exaggeration to say good sleep is the foundation for a healthy, fulfilling life.
And yet so many of us struggle with it. We've talked about the usual suspects, right?
Mm.
Inconsistent schedules, our phones, that afternoon coffee. But I think sometimes the hardest thing to control is our own minds racing.
Oh, absolutely. Our minds can be the biggest obstacle to good sleep. Replaying conversations, worrying about tomorrow, even getting hit with a burst of creativity right when we're trying to wind down.
The worst. It's like my brain's like, oh, you're trying to relax. Time to brainstorm.
Right? That's why that worry time we talked about is so key. Process those anxieties earlier in the day so they're not popping up at night. And remember, a notebook by your bed can be your best friend. Those late night brainstorms, jot them down, deal with them in the morning.
Love that. And we can't forget about visualization, picturing those calm, peaceful places.
So powerful. It helps to shift your mental state, signals to your body that it's time to sleep.
It's like giving yourself a little mental vacation. But it's
Mhm.
not just those pre-sleep routines, right? What we do during the day matters too. Like exercise, that's got to help with sleep, right?
Absolutely. Regular exercise can make a huge difference in sleep quality. But timing is key. Working out too close to bedtime can actually make it harder to fall asleep, so try to finish your workout a few hours before you want to be asleep.
Makes sense. And of course, we can't talk about sleep without mentioning the importance of a good sleep environment.
100%. Your bedroom should feel like a sanctuary, a place for rest and relaxation. Cool, dark, and quiet. If you need to invest in blackout curtains, earplugs, white noise machine, go for it. Even small tweaks can make a big difference.
It's all about creating those positive associations so your body knows, okay, I'm in bed, time to relax. But what about when you've tried all the things and you're still struggling? When should someone talk to a doctor about their sleep?
If you've given these strategies a good try and you're still not sleeping well, definitely talk to your doctor.
It could be a sign of an underlying medical condition, right?
It could be things like sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, thyroid issues, even certain medications. These can all disrupt sleep.
So important to rule those things out. And I think there's still sometimes a stigma around seeking help for sleep, but it's just like any other health concern.
Exactly. Don't suffer in silence. Your doctor can help you figure out what's going on and find the right solutions for you.
Well said. Well, as we wrap up this sleep deep dive, any final empowering thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway is you have more control over your sleep than you realize. By understanding how it works and making gradual but sustainable changes to your lifestyle and habits, you can get those restful nights back and start feeling the benefits of good sleep.
It's an ongoing process, right? Not about being perfect, just about making progress.
Exactly. Even small steps can make a world of difference.
I love that. So as you head into the rest of your day, think about what resonated with you today. What's one thing you can try tonight to get a better night's sleep?
What small step will you take? We're rooting for you. Until next time,